remember the days when I was a wee tadpole in Barbados, and trophy ceremonies for Sentebale polo matches look like this. I remember all these people, some of them no longer with us, but they all loved the old Harry. Fast forward to now, and we have scenes like this. This incident caught in 4K was the undoing of Sentebale. Surprise! Meghan ruins everything.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Senor Frog here again, Rabbit. I'm here to talk about the Frog Prince, Prince Harry, and his most recent controversy, Sentebale. The African charity out of the country Lesotho, founded in the memory of his late mother, Princess Diana, and her work with HIV/AIDS. So let's get into this, a brief timeline, if you will indulge me. Dr. Sophie Chandauka, MBE, was asked to step down as the chair of Sentebale. She quietly then filed a lawsuit. She won and got to keep her voluntary job, i.e. she's not being paid for this job. Okay, so in that way, it's kind of like her wrongful dismissal lawsuit, which happens all the time, except she wasn't even taking a salary. Okay, so she really believed in the cause. So although Dr. Chandauka did all of this quietly, up jumps Rabbit, Prince Harry, and the more rotund Frog Prince, Prince Say So. And the two of them, their frog princes, go to the press and say that they're jumping down Rabbit. On Wednesday, Harry and Prince Say So released a joint statement saying they are truly heartbroken but would be resigning from their roles as patrons at Sentebale following a dispute with chairwoman Dr. Sophie Chandauka, a lawyer appointed in 2023. These trustees acted in the best interest of the charity in asking the chair to step down while keeping the well-being of staff in mind. In turn, she sued the charity to remain in this voluntary position, further underscoring the broken relationship, Harry and Say So said. We thank all the trustees for their service over the years and are truly heartbroken they've had to follow through with this act. What's transpired is unthinkable. We are in shock that we have had to do this, but we have a continued responsibility to Sentebale's beneficiaries, so we will be sharing all of our concerns with the Charity Commission as to how this came about, the statement continued. This is the first time that Dr. Sophie finds out that this is going on. But because Prince Harry did put out that statement in the press, Dr. Sophie was ostensibly forced to put out a statement of her own, which she did in writing. Now, although I don't know all the details of the lawsuit, as I said, it was very hush-hush, I would think that if Dr. Sophie was guilty of anything inappropriate, any kind of mismanagement, that would have all come out in court, and she would not have been able to stay on as the chair. In this statement, she's basically using Harry's own words about disdain for the press and discrimination back on him. Without saying Prince Harry's name, she is calling him a hypocrite. And that brings us here, the interview with Dr. Sophie and Sky News. I'm just going to show you some of my highlights. After giving a detailed description of Sentebale and its purpose over the years, Dr. Sophie says she is reluctant to disclose too much, but she gets into some issues. Number one, the sponsors, families, and staff were lost when Harry left the UK during Megxit, girl.
And there was quite a significant correlation between the time the organization started to see a departure of sort of major organizations and Prince Harry's departure from the UK itself.
She said this made Harry the #1 risk to the organization and its funding.
So the central point here is when you look at the risk register of the charity and funding, #1 risk is the Duke of Sussex.
Yes.
Why does he want to say Duchess? The interviewer just keeps wanting to say Duchess because he knows that Meghan is to blame for all of this debacle. He's like, the
Duke of Sussex.
Is that what you saw?
Yes, I mean, I think there's something underlying that as well, which is quite interesting.
It's Meghan. The next point that I found interesting is that there were players who didn't attend meetings nor give any input, but wanted to call shots without the input of the working members.
I'll be very direct with respect to Dr. Kelly. He had the worst attendance record. And even when he was in the meetings, he didn't actually contribute that much. So I'm not surprised that he didn't know much of what was going on in the organization.
Point number 3. In response to those who said that Dr. Sophie was almost dictatorial,
Chalker of Wallasey, served as a trustee for 20 years, described you as, I'm quoting here, almost dictatorial.
Change is hard for some people. Let me just put it that way. I think what we had here was a board that had overstayed by even Charity Commission guidance.
So there, Dr. Sophie is explaining that a lot of the board members had become a bit jaded and unchecked after being there for too long, and they need to be refreshed with new ideas and motivation. Point number 4 really resonated with me because I've been doing videos on the Harkles for a while now. Dr. Sophie is basically telling us that Harry had changed, and there are people that are beholden to him because he's still the prince, but he's a different person, and they have to now go along with his selfish decisions, something they were not used to him doing.
When the charity was set up, it was structured in a certain way. So he was this was a young Harry, a youthful Harry that we were seeing. And his work for Sentebale earned him the respect and admiration of nations.
I blame Meghan Markle for getting rid of everybody who was around Harry at the time who would make Harry look good and influence him in a positive way. And I think she henpecked with her chicken legs the ones that would be more corrupt or be easily swayed by her and her needs and desires. Because it is actually interesting, as we have witnessed Harry change in public, his behavior, his mannerisms, even his way of speaking, it has also been this dramatic in private in these board meetings. And it has been devastating to the funding and to the people who believed in Harry. Point number 5, she explains how Harry's commitment to his stardom on Netflix overshadowed his commitment to the protocol of the charity. This is the crux of the matter. This is the ruin of everything in Harry's life. He took on the persona of a never made it, cannot make it, Hollywood actress, D-list, trying to make it, clawing her way to the top. This is the persona that he has taken on, and this is what has ruined everything in his life, including the things he started prior to Meghan being part of his life. And I'm going on too long. Let me just put this in perspective here.
We were so fortunate to have the opportunity to do a polo challenge in Miami last year in April. We had a very generous family that was happy for us to use their polo grounds at a material discount. And then about a month before the event was about to take place, Prince Harry called the team and said, "I'm doing a Netflix show, and I would love to bring a camera crew so that I can include some footage in this show." And so the team called me and tell me, "Oh, Prince Harry's made this request, so we're doing the things." I said, "You can't be doing the things without seeking consent from the property owners, the sponsors, all the guests. Nobody signed up into being on a Netflix show." And so we have this discussion about the need to talk to everybody. We come up with draft agreements. And of course, the venue owner says, "This is now a commercial undertaking, so here are my terms." We couldn't afford it. So now we lost the venue.
Can you believe that? They lost the venue because the owners did not agree to a whole entire show being shot on their property. It's very simple. That's not what they signed up for. They had worked for months thinking that there was no Netflix involved, and then 1 month before, Netflix is involved. So of course they had to back out of it. So what she goes on to say is that luckily there were some friends of Harry and some connections that he had that got them a second venue. But at this point, it's already clear that Harry has lost interest in the charity itself. He's put his own selfish needs and his greed for money and fame above what used to be his priority, which was a charity and the well-being of those affected by the charity. It gets better because they very quickly find out what is part of that motivation. Meghan missed the mark. Markle makes an appearance.
On the actual day, we had Prince Harry, which is always wonderful. The Duchess decided to attend, but she told us she wasn't attending.
Why does she always do this? She's always surprising everyone. It's almost like gate crashing constantly. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it feels like she knows she's not wanted in places, and so she has to gate crash. I don't know, girl, but she always has to do the surprise thing, and it's not cute, especially when people have worked so hard And especially with charities, it's not just a job, it's volunteering work. Can you please have some respect for people who are not even getting paid to do this work, that they have prepared all of this and now you're going to come and just sabotage the whole thing?
And she brought a friend, a very famous friend. So
That's
you can
Serena
imagine
Williams.
all of the activity that goes with these additional amazing people. We're excited about it. We would have been really excited had we known ahead of time, but we didn't. And so the choreography went badly on stage because we had too many people on stage. The international press captured this.
So she's being very generous there, I must say. She's a better person than me, Rabbit. Okay, the messy frog. She's saying the choreography was off. Girl, this was not a dance routine. Just say it like it is. Meghan Markle came up on that stage and treated you like a piece of shite. I don't want to be talking to somebody and anyone is looking at me like that. What you looking at me like that for? And then trying to shove her out of the way and move her around. And it was so diabolical.
There was a lot of talk about the Duchess and the choreography on stage and whether she should have been there and her treatment of me. Prince Harry.
It was a really bad look. So our next point 8, is that Prince Harry asks for Dr. Sophie to do damage control for Meghan, Mr. Markle.
Prince Harry asked me to issue some sort of a statement in support of the Duchess, and I said I wouldn't. Not because I didn't care about the Duchess, but because I knew what would happen if I did so. Number one.
Let's talk about number 1. Just to break it up, she says that she didn't want to do it because it would have been obvious that the Duchess, and she calls her the Duchess, which kind of crawls my skin, but Sophie is just being very respectful, where respect is really not due. But anyhow, that Meghan had made Sophie make this statement, and that then Meghan would have got backlash for forcing Sophie, and it would have been obvious to everyone, so she didn't want to do it for that reason.
And number 2, because we cannot be an extension of the Sussex.
What would have
PR
happened
machine.
if you?
He kind of talked over her there, the interviewer, but he's an a-hole, but I will talk about him later. I'll get to him later. But yeah, she said the other thing was she didn't want to be associated with the PR machine, the Sussex PR machine, which I interpret to mean the toxicity of being associated with Meghan Markle. If you get anywhere closer, whether you're trying to do positive, negative, or anything in between, you will get markled. And that was a very wise decision, even from back then when she made that decision. So that's the second point. So the first point is that she didn't want Meghan to get backlash if she looked like a fraud, saying, oh, Meghan and me are friends. Because we just saw that happen last week with the likes of Gwyneth Paltrow and Amanda Hirsch before her, that everyone thought that those collaborations with Meghan were just fraudulent attempts at revamping Meghan Markle's image, because those two women had obviously been shading Meghan Markle before, and by Meghan appearing with them, it looked like some kind of PR move to somehow rehabilitate Meghan Markle's image. She had good foresight with that, but she has to explain to this man about why.
You had simply just said, there's nothing wrong with what's happened, what the Duchess did.
Well, the Duchess has told Dr. Sophie Chandauka to make a press release about her, and then she'll get even worse trolling. That's what would have happened.
Think about it though. She had to tap dance on the stage around Meghan. Now she's going to have to tap dance and say, no, I liked it her. She's fine. Come on now. How much time do you want this woman to get embarrassed? Not once, but twice? At a one singular polo match that Meghan Markle was not meant to be at, that Meghan Markle said she was not going to be at. Sorry, I'm getting a bit loud. Rabbit! The grudge that Meghan Markle held against Sophie lasted so long that the entire structure of Sentebale was broken down. Sophie explains that Harry was trying to eject her from the organization through months of bullying and harassment.
Really, what Prince Harry wanted to do was to eject me from the organization, and this went on for months. It went on for months through bullying, harassment. I have documentation. There were board meetings where members of the executive team and external strategic advisors were sending me messages saying, should I interrupt? Should I stop this? Oh my gosh, this
girl, because Meghan Markle was caught in 4K looking like a biatch. That's what happened. And Prince Harry thought you, Dr. Sophie, should correct it, and you didn't. And you know what's the craziest part of all of this? It's not anyone's fault except the Sussex squad. The fan base of Meghan Markle are the ones who put out this video. They put it out. They thought, I don't know why. Maybe they don't think. They have no brains. For some reason, they put it out and they thought it looked good and it looked terrible. So the only people to blame are the same psychos that follow your psycho wife, Prince Harry. Stop asking other normal, sane, intelligent people to cover for those mistakes. Anyway, we're on point 9, but this is more like within the corporation. What happened is that Prince Harry tried to discredit her as... Okay, let me just read this. She says Prince Harry also put the sponsors off of her so that they didn't want to work with her as a surefire way of firing her. You know, like, the sponsors don't like you, Dr. Sophie, so they're not giving us any funding. It's not me and my toxic wife leaving the royal family and slandering them and getting deals and money and trying to bring those deals into the charity. Yeah, it's none of that. It's just that you aren't getting the funding. So my final point, number 10, is that I do feel that the interviewer was a bit of an a-hole. I'm not gonna lie. I know he's a black man and he was probably frightened for his job, girl. If he didn't go hard on her, I mean, he would have appeared to be a little bit biased if he had not been balanced in his journalism. But at the same time, she held her composure. She kept very ladylike.
Isn't the problem here that it was you was the problem, not the prince?
It was me who was the problem because I put a whistleblower complaint about the bullying, the harassment, and the misogyny, and Prince Harry interfered in the investigation of that. And the senior independent director who should have taken care of it was the very same person who then delivered the news to me that I was going to be removed by the board. So it's a cover-up. And the prince is involved.
Listen, I think a lot of people don't understand. This woman just went through a trial. And she's a lawyer. You're not going to catch her slipping, are you? I think a lot of people could take a page out of Sophie's book, because one thing she was actually very correct in predicting is that being associated with anything to do with Meghan Markle does put you in a very polarizing position. And she has received so much hate from both sides, the Sussex side and the Megxit side. Believe that or not, there has been this panel that went up there a couple of days ago, a panel of 3 women who have been completely lost in the sauce. And they really misdirected their anger that they have towards Meghan Markle straight on to Sophie for some weird reason. And I watched it and I cringed. Ribbit. There were a lot of ribbits. Ribbit. Because I didn't want this to happen for people. Some people get lost in the sauce. They don't even know what's going on anymore. They just want to be angry. They want to be crazy. And I was very disappointed in it. And I think that they could take a page out of Dr. Sophie's book by seeing that there are times that people need to step back. There are times that it's more important to be reflective than reactive. And if you don't have the information, you don't need to just sit up there and talk. The panel went on to talk about the clan, their association with the clan girl, weaponry, all kinds of wild behaviors went on this panel. These are life-checking moments. I mean, at the end of the day, you can be critics of Meghan Markle, but to say that Sophie is anything like Meghan Markle, they were saying that she's like Meghan Markle. She's a fraud too. She don't have these degrees and credits to her name. And this is crazy because it's very much online, all the things that Dr. Sophie has done. And not only that, but when you say that she is not credible, you're also undermining the Queen, because the Queen gave Dr. Sophie an MBE. Sophie does continue to fight for Sentebale. She believes it will continue.
Centebale will live. Centebale will live on because of the people.
Dr. Sophie cares about Sentebale, and that is why she took this interview with Sky News. The same cannot be said for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, who have refused to comment. Anyway, that's all I have for you all today. Ribbit, stay on your lily pad, honey. That's the place to be. Do not go up into the swamp. Do not get caught up in the swamp monsters. We are here to back Dr. Sophie. We hope for the best for Sentebale. There's so much work that has gone into it, affecting a lot of countries in the Commonwealth as well, which is where I am from. So yeah, I'm here for the best outcome ever. And we will see. Oh, let us go and check on Meghan Markle before we go though. What is she doing today? Because it's Mother's Day in the UK, and I wonder if she's celebrating. Oh Lord! Our family tradition, Mothering Sunday in the UK. And it's like 3/4 of a pie that we don't even know what it is. Oh look, the little child hand is there. Girl, you're going to have to do a lot more than that lemon cake to distract us from what is actually going on with Sentebale, honey. But good try. Love you all so much, and you know that. Please don't forget to subscribe, press the bell notification. And speaking of lemons, you know I'm going to be covering the Lemonada interviews, podcast, whatever she want to call it. Yeah, stick with me, and thank you so much. I love you. Bye.